Hello everyone. In the last presentation, we have started that clinical enzymology unit. On that, we have discussed about functional and non-functional plasma enzymes and some of the enzymes which are used in diagnosis of some diseases. So, in this presentation, we are going to discuss about isoenzymes and enzymes which are used in diagnosis of acute myocardial infarctions. So, first one, what are isoenzymes? Isoenzymes or isozymes. So they are also called as isozymes. So they are multiple forms of same enzyme that catalyze the same chemical reaction. So they have different chemical and physical properties. So they may differ in their electrophoretic mobility, kinetic properties, amino acid sequence, and also in their amino acid composition. So for example, the enzyme lactate dehydrogenase, which exists in isoenzymic form, so it differs in their electrophoretic mobility. Like that, the alkaline phosphatase isoenzymes are either heat labile or heat stable. Whereas the next one, inhibitory property, the acid phosphatase enzyme, it can inhibit only one isoenzyme of an enzyme. And another one is the glucokinase and hexokinase, its melting point. And another one, the cofactors. It may also differ in their requirement of cofactors. It also differ in their tissue localization, and it also differ in their antibodies. So for example, for creatine kinase, each isoenzyme can be bound only by a specific antibody. So with this, we are going to the next important topic, that is diagnosis of acute myocardial infarctions by means of enzymes. So first, what is meant by acute myocardial infections? It is a coronary heart disease. Simply, it is a heart attack. The diagnosis of this acute myocardial infarction is usually predicated on the WHO criteria, that is, the World Health Organization has characterized the AMI as with signs of chest pain, if it's there any ECG changes, and if it is there any increase in their biochemical markers of myocardial injury. So mostly half of the patients with typical symptoms do not have that acute myocardial infarction. Sometimes the ECG is specific for AMI, but it lacks sensitivity. So in contrast, the biochemical markers have an excellent sensitivity for diagnosing this acute myocardial infarction. So it would be better to combine the results of ECG and along with the biochemical markers like the enzymes. So then the diagnostic accuracy can be enhanced. So what are all the serum enzymes which are used in acute myocardial infarctions? The first one, creatine phosphokinase. Next one, aspartate transaminase. The third one, lactate dehydrogenase. These three are the most important enzymes which are used in diagnosing the acute myocardial infarction. And these three enzymes can also exist as isoenzymes. So apart from these enzymes, some other biochemical markers are there which are acceptable towards the ischemic heart disease, which are now considered to include that myoglobin and CKMB, that is the creatine kinase MB, then total creatine kinase, and cardiac troponins T and troponins I. So the first important enzyme which is used in diagnosing acute myocardial infarctions are creatine kinase, which can be shortly noted as CK or CPK. So this creatine kinase is an enzyme which is primarily found in the heart and skeletal muscles and to a very lesser extent in the brain, but it is not at all found in the liver and in kidney. The major role of this creatine kinase is to transfer of phosphate between the creatine and ATP or ADP. It provides a rapid regeneration of ATP when the ATP is very low. The creatine phosphate is regenerated when the ATP is abundant. So after myocardial infarction, how can we identify the creatine kinase level? If the serum value is found to increase within 3 to 6 hours, it reaches a peak level in about 24 to 30 hours, and then it returns to normal level in 2 to 4 days, usually in 72 hours. So the normal value of this creatine kinase, the serum varies from 10 to 50 IU per liter, that is the international unit per liter, at 30 degrees Celsius. So the CK is a sensitive indicator in the early stages of the myocardial infarction. So no increase in the activity is found in heart failure and coronary insufficiency. In acute myocardial infarction, CPK usually rises very faster than the SGOT, and it returns to normal faster than the SGOT. So apart from the creatine kinase isoenzymes can also be used to diagnose the acute myocardial infarctions. So there are three isoenzymes which are similar to the creatine kinase. So measuring them is of value in the presence of elevated levels of CK or CPK to determine the source of elevation. So each isoenzyme is a dimer which is composed of two protomers, M for muscles and B for brain. So these isoenzymes can be separated by electrophoresis or by ion exchange chromatography, and you have studied these chromatographic techniques and electrophoresis techniques in the last semester. And this table shows the difference between the three isoenzymes of creatine kinase in their electrophoretic mobility, tissue of origin, and mean percentage in their blood. So the first one, that is that is CK3. Its electrophoretic mobility is least, whereas the electrophoretic mobility of CK2 is intermediate and CK1 is maximum. Coming to the tissue of origin, CK3 is present in the skeletal muscle and heart muscle, whereas CK2 is present only in the heart muscle, whereas the CK1 is present only in the brain. So then the mean percentage in blood, CK3 is available about 97 to 100 percentage, whereas CK2 about 0 to 3 percentage, whereas the CK1, there is no CK1 in the blood. The normal levels of creatine kinase or creatine phosphokinase are almost entirely belongs to the dimer from the skeletal muscle. So the elevated levels of CK or CPK resulting from the acute myocardial infarctions are about half from and half from MB. That is half from muscles and half from muscles and brain dimer. So the myocardial muscle is the only tissue that contains more than 5% of total creatine kinase activity as the CK2 isoenzyme. Following an acute myocardial infarction attack, this isoenzyme appears within 4 hours. Following the onset of chest pain, it reaches a peak activity at approximately 24 hours and it falls down very rapidly. Whereas the MB accounts for about 4.5 to 20% of the total CK activity in the plasma of the patients with a recent myocardial infarction, and the total isoenzyme is elevated up to 20 folds above the normal if the person is affected with the myocardial infarction. So the next important enzyme is aspartate aminotransferase, that is the AST. It is also called as a serum glutamate oxaloacetate transaminase, SGOT. The level is significantly elevated in the case of acute myocardial infarctions, and this SGOT, that is the aspartate aminotransferase, is not only used to diagnose acute myocardial infarctions, it is also used to diagnose some of the liver and kidney diseases. So the normal value of aspartate aminotransferase is about 0 to 41 international unit per liter at 37 degrees Celsius. Whereas in the conditions of acute myocardial infarctions, the serum activity rises sharply within the first 12 hours and it reaches a peak level at 24 hours or over and returns to normal within 3 to 5 days. So the rise depends on the extent of infection. So the rise of the enzyme depends upon the extent of the infection. So the reinfection results in secondary rise of SGOT. So the prognostic significance showed the levels about 350 IU per liter or due to the massive infection that is fatal. So more than 350 IU per liter of aspartate aminotransferase or mainly due to the massive infection. So that condition may be fatal, and about 150 IU per liter are associated with a high mortality, and levels with the 50 IU per liter are associated with the low mortality. So other diseases like the rise in the aspartate aminotransferase is also observed in muscle and hepatic diseases. It can be well differentiated from simultaneous estimation of other enzymes like SGPT, which do not show and rise in activity in acute myocardial infarction. So this aspartate aminotransferase can also be used to diagnose some of the hepatic diseases, but the clinical biochemist won't confuse it with acute myocardial infarction, because apart from this SGOT, some other enzyme activities will also be measured to know whether it is a muscle or hepatic disease. So the next important enzyme is the lactate dehydrogenase. The lactate dehydrogenase here catalyzes the reversible conversion of pyruvate and lactate. The normal level of lactate dehydrogenase will be 55 to 140 IU per liter at 30 degrees Celsius. The levels in the upper range are generally seen in the children. Lactate dehydrogenase level is 100 times more inside the RBCs than in the plasma, and therefore the minor amount of hemolysis may result in a false positive result. So one should be very careful while doing this diagnosis. In the condition of acute myocardial infarction, the serum activity rises within 12 to 24 hours, and it attains a peak at 48 hours. It's about 2 to 4 days, reaching about 1000 IU per liter, and then returns gradually to normal from 8th to 14th day. So the magnitude of rise is proportional to the extent of the myocardial infarction. So this enzyme activity is also similar to that of that aspartate aminotransferase. The serum LDH elevation may persist for more than a week after the CPK and the SGOT levels have returned to normal levels. So this lactate dehydrogenase can also be used to diagnose some other diseases. So it is the elevated level of LDH is also seen in conditions like hemolytic anemias, some hepatocellular damages, muscular dystrophies, carcinoma, leukemias, and any condition which causes necrosis of the body cells. Since the total lactate dehydrogenase is increased in many diseases, so the study of isoenzyme of LDH is of more significant. So the LDH enzyme is tetramer with 4 subunits. So the subunit may be either from H heart or M muscle polypeptide chains. So these two chains are the product of two different genes. So although both of them have a same molecular weight, but there are very minor amino acid variations. There can be 5 possible combinations, that is H4 and H3M1, H2M2, H1M3, M4. These are all the 5 different types of isoenzymes in all the individuals. So the variations in this lactate dehydrogenase help us to identify whether it is exactly the acute myocardial infarction or some other related disease. This table shows the various isoenzymes of lactate dehydrogenase. It shows their electrophoretic mobility, their tissue origin, the percentage of their presence in the human serum. Normally, the lactate dehydrogenase 2 level in the blood is greater than LDH1, but this pattern is reversed in the case of myocardial infarction, and this is called the flipped pattern. So, apart from these three diagnostic enzymes like creatine kinase, aspartate aminotransferase, lactate dehydrogenase, some other biochemical markers are there like cardiac troponins. They are also widely accepted as the marker of myocardial infarction. So the troponin complex consists of three components: troponin C, which is calcium binding, and troponin I, actomycin, ATPase inhibitory element, and troponin T, which is the tropomycin binding element. So the first thing, the troponin I is released into the circulation within 4 hours of the onset of cardiac manifestations, whereas the peak is observed at 14 to 24 hours, and it remains elevated for about 3 to 5 days after the infarction conditions. So the serum level of troponin T increases within 6 hours of myocardial infarction, and it attains the peak at 72 hours and then remains elevated up to 7 to 10 days. Whereas the troponin 2 T2 estimation is about 100% sensitive index for myocardial infarction. So apart from these things, another one important marker is there, that is called myoglobin. It is one of the earliest marker which is very sensitive, but in certain clinical settings it lacks specificity. Its level rises within 4 hours of infarction. Sometimes the false result will be observed with the high levels in the cases of patients with renal failure, or sometimes patients with muscle injuries will also show high levels of myoglobin. So that may sometimes cause false positive results in case of acute myocardial. So this graph clearly shows the various enzymatic activity changes in the acute myocardial infections, and this is enough for your syllabus regarding the acute myocardial infarction diagnosis. And I will give you a next talk on some other enzymatic activity changes in liver and acute pancreatitis. Thank you.